Liverpool 2, Brentford nil at Anfield. Mark Donaldson, Luis Miguel Echegaray, Janusz Mihalik to recap events at Anfield. And gents, I want to start with a statistic. And we get so many statistics thrown at us. And most of them are just a waste of time. But this one intrigued me. Arne Slot has become the first Liverpool manager since Graham Souness in 1991 to win his first 2 league games in charge. That's a surprise, LME, isn't it?
Yes, massive. Wow, yeah. That's a good stat, MD. You're right. Most of it, let's throw it away. I like this one. This was a surprising one. Listen, regarding today against Brentford, aside obviously the scoreline, well deserved. I am very impressed with Liverpool Football Club right now under Arne Slot, mainly because it's so early in the season. And they almost already know exactly who they are. There were segments in this match that were very impressive. I'm not even talking about the goal. Some of the interplay in the final third, Mohamed Salah, we've already discussed how, his role is also a creator as well as a goal scorer. He looks 5 years younger when he's playing. I love the... Yeah, that's true, actually. The haircut does make him look a little bit younger as well. And hair for men as well. I think he darkened his hair as well up top. But in the middl as well, Gravenberch and McAllister, they're working really, really well in between the offensive line and in front of them. I've just been very, very impressed. I know it's early, but it's really more about in the makeup in how Liverpool are winning right now as opposed to just the scoring. And to your point about getting 2 wins out of 2, and it hasn't happened since Graham Souness, I think this is a really great victory because it's already showing what Liverpool are going to be. And I'm very excited to see how it goes. Obviously, it'll be interesting to see when they face, with all due respect, tougher opponents, those who are looking to win the title and get Champions League positions. But so far, what I'm most impressed by is who Liverpool are under Slot so early on. Very impressive.
Okay, Janusz, let's get into the minutiae of the way he set the team up. What's the biggest difference between his 4-2-3-1 and Jurgen Klopp's 4-3-3?
Less predictable. I'll put it that way. There was a lot of talk about that this team is different, maybe not as exciting, right? I mean, I didn't get it. I mean, this game didn't show me. In fact, this game was very similar to a lot of the games that Jurgen Klopp played. Oh, by the way, LME, you wanted to really say that these are champions in waiting, Liverpool, right? The way you said it.
Janusz, that's what I wanted to say.
But I don't know if you noticed, right? I mean, even during the commentary and everybody saying it's different, it's maybe not as dynamic. I don't know if I saw that today. I've seen plenty of games played out like this under Jurgen Klopp, but today was absolutely excellent. There was nothing wrong with it, and the difference was 4-2-3-1, less predictable because of the fullback being inverted, right? I mean, we're used to Jurgen Klopp, Trent Alexander-Arnold playing balls across to Andy Robertson, right? Remember those times at their best? That's a little bit different, less predictable now because the wide players, and that's Mo Salah and Luis Diaz, keep the width, but then you have fullbacks overlapping, so you have to make decisions if you're the opponent. But today, I thought it was absolutely excellent. I think a dream start for Arne Slot because, coming on the heels of Jurgen Klopp, I don't know. They said maybe the energy in the stadium wasn't the same. I didn't get that on the pitch. Off the pitch, of course, Jurgen Klopp, in the past was being watched by the supporters more than they watched the game. Sometimes he provided the energy. So other than that, the 4-2-3-1, it's slightly different. I don't know if they linger on the ball much longer than the teams of Jurgen Klopp. Devastating on the counter, just as they were with Jurgen Klopp. That first goal, I mean, absolutely beautiful. So slight differences, but I don't think it's anything major right now.
That first goal that you mentioned with Luis Diaz getting on the end of Diogo Jota, it was a good counter. I want to speak more about that in just a second, but LME, with regards to Liverpool and being in control with that 4-2-3-1, they don't seem as open as they did last season when they have the ball and then they lose it in transition.
Yeah, listen, to me, it's about control. And I agree with Janusz in the sense that there are similarities to what we've seen in the past, But consider this statistic, another one here from Opta Analytics, where Liverpool completed 92% of their passes in today's game. That's their best passing accuracy in the Premier League in a decade. Okay, so more than that, in 20 years. And to me, what that says is exactly, first of all, when they lose the ball and Brentford were countering, against Crystal Palace, they were all over them. Today, Liverpool had 5-6 players already back. So they're already trying to control the defensive side of the ball. When they have the ball, they're more, patient is the wrong word, but they're more calculated with where they want to go. And yes, again, it's early in the season, it's only August, but that can only get better. Obviously, the test will become harder, but that's what I see the big difference. That when they have the ball, they're more calculated with how they want to do this. You still have the Trent Alexander-Arnold's long balls and the timing runs with Mohamed Salah. You still have Alexis McAllister as well trying to push forward when they have it in order so somebody else can sit. You still have that width and that pace with Lucho Diaz and Diogo Jota moving around. But now I think it's more accurate and more demanding from a control perspective. And I love that. And I hope for Liverpool fans that this continues. It's great to see it. And I agree with Janusz. I think that there is excitement here because it's now this Liverpool that is really going for it. It's offensively creative, but now they also are very calm and controlled over who they want to be on with the ball and off it.
Yeah. You know, guys, what the difference may be, and that's true, obviously. That control defensively is because you have inverted fullbacks, right? So when you lose the ball in transition, you already have at least one, if not both, Trent and Robo inside. So that's a plus. I think the difference is, and that was always going to be the case, or at least you think it's going to be the case, it's penning out right now, pending verification, because next week it's Old Trafford. So that's going to be the real test, isn't it? But I think it's the difference in the individual players, how they're being challenged, right? I mean, that's a great stat in terms of passing because you look at Luis Diaz, forget everything else. I mean, that's the best game we've seen him play. Goal, assist. I think in terms of passing, 27 for 27, right? I mean, certainly a different player because we expected more from him. Szoboszlai, I almost gave up on him, but today, pretty solid game. Although I'm still not 100% sure that I actually see him behind Jota. I almost want to see McAllister in that position because I think we're taking the best out of him. It's as if you're sacrificing him and not just Schlott, but also Klopp year after year after year. I think you can get a lot more out of him playing a little bit further. I would even try Szoboszlai a little bit deeper. Why not? A lot of faith in Gravenberch. We didn't see that coming. I think he's doing his job. It wasn't spectacular, but that's not what that position what you expect from that position. So I think it's a little bit different, a little bit better. I'm just not sure that today is the game where we go out and say, wow, what a different team this is from your club.
And that's the thing. Look, there's enough naysayers in this world to kind of go, oh, but this, that, and the other thing. And it's Ipswich and it's Brentford. You still got to beat them. You can only beat what's in front of you. It's not Liverpool's fault. They're 6 points out of 6. If they go to Man United next week and get all 3 points, do we sit up and take notice that, hey, this is a proper start to the season? Because if Souness was the last in 91 to get back-to-back league wins as Liverpool manager, this would certainly be the perfect start. If Liverpool LME can go to Old Trafford, I would make them favourites right now and get 3 points next week.
Yeah, so would I. I think, I think we've been in this industry long enough to understand that, like, of course, results are the most important thing in terms of, trying to get your achievements. But when you want context, you want to see also how you win or how you perform. So that's why I go back to my original point. If we are here in August and I'm watching this, and listen, this is Thomas Frank's Brentford. I know there's no Ivan Toney, and this is a very well-organized team as well. And like you said, they can only do what they can do in front of the opponent they can go in front of. But to me, it's the way that you perform, the way that you get results. And so far, from today, okay, and last week as well, right, against a very energized Ipswich Town. Okay, they're a newly promoted team, but this was a very big day for them, and they still came out through. Your stats about, since Graham Souness is getting 2 wins out of 2. To me, it's about how you do it. So if early on already we are seeing players already beginning to almost fully understand what they want to do under Arne Slot, then this is great. And I agree with you. Yes, Manchester United at Old Trafford is going to be the biggest test thus far, but I have Liverpool as favourites in that one, no doubt.
Janusz, Arne Slot said at his press conference, and he said at most of his press conferences so far, we're still looking. What's he looking for? Who is he looking for? And in what position? And where would they replace which players are in the team right now?
I think many. That's why even if, look, I mean, it's a funny conversation, this, because even if they win at Old Trafford, I don't still think that they're favorites, right? This is just the beginning of rebuild of Liverpool. And that started with Arne Slot, just himself being named the manager. I mean, after so many years, was it 9 years of Jurgen Klopp, you have to rebuild that. People are asking why Liverpool hasn't strengthened. And to answer your question, obviously number 6 is one, and another center back at the very least, right? But when is it going to be in January, which they've done with Van Dijk? When you're talking about center back, or is it going to be next summer? I listened to Jamie Carragher, and it was interesting. Not even paraphrasing, but he said something to the effect that this is, they're looking at the next summer. This is going to be a longer term, right? Because why haven't they bought anybody right now? I think, in my opinion, it's hard to convince the best players out there to come when the future of arguably your best 3 players, in Trent, Van Dijk, and Salah, is at stake. You know how these players do. I'm talking about top players. If you're asking them to come to Liverpool, they kind of want to know, but what happens? What if 2 or 3 leave or don't renew their contract? So that's the issue. I think this is a longer project. The start's been sensational, a dream start for Arne Slot in terms of winning these 2 games, and at least letting people forget about Jurgen Klopp, as sacrilegious as it sounds, and even more so that this style of play may be better, right? So he's playing with house money right now, but I'm sure they're looking at a true number 6, and I would be looking definitely at another quality center back, not a young center back, quality center back.
I thought Mohamed Salah took his goal well, LME. What have you noticed? Any difference about his kind of average position under Arne Slot compared to what he used to be?
Well, there was that one moment where he did one-touch football 3 times, right, going inside the box. That, to me, is both what we have seen already from Mohamed Salah, where an inverted wing position where he likes to cut inside and use that left foot. But now I'm seeing him way more mobile and also working better with everybody else offensively going towards the box. And when I said that he looks 5 years younger, not just because of his haircut, as you mentioned, it's this energy both creatively on the ball and off the ball as well. His timing with Trent Alexander-Arnold, you're going to see that a lot, by the way. You've already seen it in the past, but now the TAA is looking for him every time on that right side. It's going to be more intriguing to watch. And I think this is a reason why Darwin Núñez is not starting, because now there's more of a fluidity with Diogo Jota and him as well, and Lucho Diaz on the other side. So I'm seeing Mohamed Salah obviously beginning on that right side, but he's always going to be looking to move across that front line. It's great to see. And it only works when everybody else is in conjunction. So Darwin Núñez, I think, is going to have a difficult time trying to get in this starting 11.
The 10 position is an interesting one, Janusz, because they spoke about Harvey Elliott pre-season, maybe playing in that role. He did in some of the games, Szoboszlai as well. You've spoken about him and whether he plays there or a little bit deeper. But if we move a little bit further forward in this 4-2-3-1, is this a set and forget? Diogo Jota is your front man, and then Darwin Núñez is your League Cup guy, your guy coming off the bench, or does it depend on form for Diogo Jota, the way that he set them up?
Well, with Diogo Jota, it depends on him staying healthy.
Yeah, of course.
From what we've seen today, I mean, that first goal, I mean, the assist from Diogo Jota, if you really watch it closely, it seemed okay, something that should have happened. But if you look at the weight of the pass, on which side he passes, how he sets up Diaz, that's absolutely superb. Obviously had a chance, remember, redirecting that. He's always dangerous. I think he's clearly your number 1, number 10, if you will, because he doesn't need many chances, right? If you look at Darwin Núñez, the story doesn't change. Even today from that offside, not the fact that he was 3 or 4 yards offside, but he still needs to finish that. He needs 5 chances to score a goal, and that's the unfortunate part. And there's accountability accountability. So look, I don't know if they're going to go for somebody until the end of the window, but there's accountability. Look at Hakpo. I mean, what incredible European championships he's had. He was tremendous. Here he is, a Dutch manager, and he's getting minutes, a few minutes here and there, right? I mean, so he's a possibility, even though I'd imagine that after playing so well at the Euros on the left-hand side, he'd be playing there because Diaz last season wasn't spectacular. But, you know, Schlotz sees it differently. But Hakpo is going to be an option on the left side. He's going to be an option as a striker. Darwin Núñez, I don't know what to say about that because I don't foresee a lot of playing time for him the way it stands right now. I don't.
LME, you know him well. You know his style of play well. You know he needs a lot of chances to score goals. That's not going to cut it unless his chance to goal-scoring ratio improves, right?
Yeah, and it's a learning process for him now because actually he really has to be a link-up man that's very accurate. And that's not actually Darwin Núñez's strength. In fact, when he plays for Uruguay, he loves it under Marcelo Bielsa because he's literally just a target man every single time, very direct. That's not Arne Slot football. Arne Slot football is more fluid and more connecting. So yeah, I agree with Janusz. He's going to find a difficult time to get minutes. However, when he came on, I did see some moments of connectivity. It's just that it's just not who he is. So it'll be interesting to see in the future, as Janusz mentioned, summer projects, future projects in the future, if Núñez indeed will be the man for Liverpool in months to come, even this season after the January transfer window. But so far, I see very little time for him. And to your question earlier, I think the longer Liverpool are in domestic cup competitions, that's the best chance I see Darwin Núñez starting, because when it comes to the Premier League, I don't think so.
I want to wrap this up, Janusz, talking about Brentford. They've got a League Cup tie at Colchester in midweek. A couple of big away games coming up at Man City and at Spurs. But next week, it's Southampton. We saw how good they can be against Crystal Palace. They've got the physicality. They've got the height. They're decent from set plays. They've also got a lot of pace on the counter. Are you okay with Brentford maybe aiming for top 10? Do you think that's their target this season, especially if they don't have Ivan Toney, if something's done this week and maybe he moves on?
Yeah, Brentford target for me is like many, just to stay up because of competitiveness of this league, right? That's number one target. Anything after that is gravy. It really what it is. Obviously, speaking of change of style, that's 4-3-3. Remember, last season, Brentford had an incredible quality playing with 3 in the back or 5 in the back against the top teams, top 4, 5, 6, whatever you want to call it. And today they changed that. And if you watch the game early, the first 20, 25, 30 minutes, they went off to the races with Liverpool. Right, they want to play blow for blow, and they pay the price on that counterattack. They had their moments. Obviously, they need to resolve that situation with Ivan Toney. I mean, resolve it. I mean, he's going to be gone. Just a question if they can squeeze that in the next week or two. If they can, probably no time to reinvest it. Nothing special anyway. If he stays, I'd imagine it'll be a bonus anyway, because once you're resigned to stay in, Ivan Toney is going to be an asset to Brentford. But I think, I'm looking for more of the same, always being in games, always being dangerous on set pieces, a team that is uncomfortable to play against.
Jurgen Klopp couldn't do it. Brendan Rodgers couldn't do it. Kenny Dalglish didn't do it. Roy Hodgson didn't do it. Rafa Benitez didn't do it. Gerard Houllier didn't do it, and Roy Evans didn't do it. Graham Souness was the last man before Arne Slot to win his opening 2 league games in charge of Liverpool. 2-0, they beat Brentford at Anfield. Bye for now.